Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Cyber. And today we have with us Akhil Chandel. So I like to believe that a person knows more about himself herself than than somebody else. So Akhil, if you can introduce yourself to us, I mean to our viewers, that'll be wonderful. Tell us what you do, and yeah.
Hi, and first of all, hello to all the listeners and viewers. And thank you for having me on the podcast, to be very frank. It's my first time, so I'm a bit
Oh, it's
nervous, but let's see.
I mean, yeah, it's my first time too. So
So, starting out from myself. Well, if we go chronologically, I am currently pursuing my master's in cybersecurity. And currently, I'm working on my dissertation, which is the last 3 to 4 months of my course. And yes, I'm doing that, and I've been working on it for past more than a year now. Uh, Prior to that, I have about 4 years and 6 months of experience in IT in total, out of which 3 years was in the field of security or was related to the field of security. And yes, that's pretty much what my professional is. As a background, yes, I have a bachelor's in engineering in electronics and communications. So yes, a diverse background.
wonderful, wonderful. So you said you're pursuing your master's, is it, in
Yes.
cybersecurity? Where are you doing that from?
So I'm currently doing it in at the University of Waikato in
Oh,
Hamilton. Yeah.
I didn't know that you're based in Hamilton.
Oh,
I
okay.
thought, yeah, I thought you're doing it from University of Auckland. Sorry, yeah.
Mm,
And you worked for TCS, Tata
yes.
Consultancy Services, for about 5 years.
Yes, almost 5 years. Yes.
So, like, can you tell us your experience with TCS and what your role was and what you did?
Mm. So I joined TCS after finishing my bachelor's, and even though I was a bachelor's in engineering for electronics and communication, I did have some background in IT, especially programming languages,
Right.
because I was working heavily on embedded systems while doing my bachelor's. So I had a base for language coding and even C coding. But when I joined TCS, it was altogether new experience coming into a new world. I was trained in ASP.NET and C Sharp, and I was posted in my first project, which was a massive US-based insurance client, and I was there on a role of a developer. I was developing some applications for them, which was automating their print and similar stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, that was my first assignment, and after about a year or so, I was reassigned to another project at the Department of Treasuries, and that was something where I got introduced to security, and that was inside the data center. My major role was of in identity and access manager management administrator. Plus, I had to administer a couple of middlewares as well because shortage of staff.
Right.
But along with that, as I progressed through it, I had some additional responsibilities of that of setting up SOC and integrating it with various servers, be it physical servers or the middlewares or application servers. So, yes, it was quite enriching, and especially when you are inside a data center, you do get to learn a lot when
And
you are playing around with production.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and I would like to ask this question: how smooth was this transition for you?
Uh, well, it wasn't really smooth because now that I think of it, when I was a developer, it was pretty easy because you're not at the location where this whole thing is operating. You are in your own, you're at your offshore delivery center, sitting in your own cubicle, playing with your development environment, which even if you mess up is fine.
Fine.
There are no repercussions,
Yeah.
and you have so many checks. Even a single line of code which you write, it goes through so many checks before getting deployed. It was easy, but as soon as after just 1 year, I was in a state where I was responsible for everything. I
Mm.
was facing the client. And I think more than the technical aspects, the facing the client thing was something which was tough for me,
Right.
because in the data center, client had the access and they could just come and stand behind my
Yeah.
system and just look at it and what am I doing. So that's something which you need to adapt to, and sometimes you get high pressure situations
Mm. And
wherein,
yeah,
yeah,
so like what would be the advice coming from you for someone like yourself who's just starting into cybersecurity, or your particular field, if you have an advice for them, you know.
I think well, in terms of advice, I
Yeah.
would there's one thing I have always kept in mind when I was working, and I even now when I'm working through it, I always keep this in mind that yes, security is very important. Yes, security is very niche, but you can't uh, be a security expert without knowing the other stuff, without knowing the basic stuff of the IT. I do come across a lot of people just because, and to be very honest, people in IT, I've seen people getting attracted to various lines of work just because there are no jobs there.
Yeah.
Uh, but and I do meet a lot of people who just want to come into security without knowing the basics of it. I think my time as a developer did give me enough exposure to understand what that side of work does, what that side of team does. And once you have a holistic view, you'd have a better understanding of how to apply security. Because uh, it's not about you going out there and finding problems. It won't be that easy.
Hmm.
Most of the times problems aren't that visible. You can only understand the problems once you are familiar with the whole setup. You're familiar with how it works. If for instance, my previous application which I was working on, it was Java based, and there were a lot of security and performance issues which I had to deal with. There was one issue which had to deal with threads. So if
Right.
I don't understand how Java threads and thread processes how they work, I cannot really troubleshoot that kind of a problem.
Hmm.
I think that would be one of my advices, that you need to have a
And Akhil, when was the time where you realized or felt that, or now I think I need to, or you felt that I should be doing something in cybersecurity? When what was that moment which led you to cybersecurity?
so after starting my work in IAM,
Hmm.
I was pretty, to be honest, I was pretty clueless when entering it. What IAM
I
is,
think we,
I just
everyone is, we all are clueless when we are, starting our journey, or starting
yes.
our careers, or even, like stepping into a new career stream. So I think it's
Yeah,
just,
yeah, and other thing was people around me, or I was replacing somebody who was going on a transfer on an urgent basis. So he didn't have that person didn't have enough time to train me
right.
or give help me out, and so I had roughly about 15 days of knowledge transfer sessions, and you were there, you were just working, but and it took me a while. It took me about a year to settle down in that whole role and
Wow.
start taking up more additional responsibilities or initiatives. I think once I started working towards the integration of SOC
Mm-hmm.
in the project, that's when I realized, okay, I should probably formally get qualified in it, be it be it my master's, be it my certification. That's when I thought, okay, I my career seems to be going towards that direction, and I seem to have a lot of passion for it.
So you were thrown into it, and that's when you realize, I think I like it. This is for me, and then you decided to pursue your master.
Yes,
Is that right? Good.
yes.
Okay. So, like, do you suggest to have some certifications done, or do you think masters is the right way forward to land into cybersecurity?
Hmm. Well, that's interesting because
Yeah.
I finished my certification, CompTIA Security Plus,
Hmm.
before joining my masters,
Right.
uh, and those are two different, totally different things. Certifications evaluate your practical skills, your hands-on knowledge in terms of security, be it defensive, offensive, or any or cloud-related anything. But in masters, I think you get to work a lot on your conceptual knowledge,
Yeah.
and then you build upon it. yes, academics are a bit different. That's that's how I like to feel that academics are a bit idealistic. They try to find idealistic ways of doing it, but in real life, those are not the ways how they work. If somebody wants to enter into cybersecurity, masters is not a must.
Yeah.
I would say certification would suffice, but even before that, a willingness to learn is more important.
Yeah, that passion is, yeah, that is the must, I think. Yeah, because then I think cybersecurity is so vast that you can't
Hmm.
just pick on one stream. Of course, passion, as you said, you were thrown into a situation and then you realized, oh no, I think, this is for me. And that's when you realized I have to, study or know more about it.
Yes,
Um,
yes, and other thing is, cybersecurity especially comes with a lot of responsibility.
exactly.
The higher the amount of risk you can take, the big more you learn, the bigger your value.
Yeah.
So
And it's a
you
rewarding
need,
career. Can we agree on that? Like, do you?
yes, it
Yeah.
is really rewarding. Only thing is you need to be very confident in risk taking.
Yeah, 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 exactly. And
But yes, it is rewarding. Yeah.
you are also you also have expertise in business continuity plans.
Yes, I have worked a bit on risk management, and those were a part of not only my job, but as well as a part of my certification and a bit of my
Ah,
master's
right.
as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what? And you're pursuing masters from cybersecurity. Sorry, from Waikato University.
Yes.
So what is the thesis that you're doing? What is the subject of it?
So yes, so currently my research topic is something related to internet. So it's more like, if I have to give it a single line title,
Mhm.
because we are still in the process of planning the experiments right now.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
more towards understanding the internet landscape and security of India. So
Okay.
it's more of a regional study. It's focused on a region, particular region, because again, India, as you know, is expanding uh, like anything. And when there is such an expansion, sometimes it's always good to have a understanding on how that expansion is happening, because sometimes unplanned expansions can lead to a lot of flaws
Mhm.
or vulnerabilities. And that's, I think, particularly that's what I'm looking at. It's something related to looking at internet behavior and security in perspective with other more developed countries, be it Brazil, be it Russia, be it USA. So that's something I'm working on, and I'm still working on the experiments, and we don't know what we will find, but yes.
Right. And s- are you facing any challenges, be it your research studies, or maybe you can tell us if you are, looking at some sort of sector or companies that you're looking forward to working with? Are you facing any challenges? You know,
I think
and the reason I ask
big,
the question is because a lot of people come to me and say that there's a high skill shortage in this industry, but they still don't get to find employment quickly in New Zealand, and
mhm.
that's why I'm asking this question. That what do you feel?
So in terms of challenges, yes. In terms of, if I had to relate the challenges to research, yes, there are a couple of challenges, but those are kind of unrelated to what challenges we have in New Zealand.
Right.
But in terms of employment, yes, I there are a couple of challenges out there, because even though there is a lot of demand, I would
Mhm.
say, to put it in a very simpler terms, there's a lot of demand, but it is still hard to get a breakthrough into a
Yeah.
company or into an organization. And that's I think that I can attribute to the fact that, again, going back to my initial suggestion as well, that most of the time people just want to go into security without having a wider knowledge.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that's one of the things I've come across, that people generally don't really focus on how things work, but they want to just go into security, be it, and again, depending upon which candidate has what kind of view towards security.
Yeah.
Do you want to go into offensive, you want to go into
Yes.
defensive, do you, and that's something you need to think through, because it's too vast, like you said.
Hmm.
So you need to think through.
I
You
mean,
need.
for you, I
Mhm.
think it will be easy because you've got that experience from India, right? You worked for TCS, and TCS is a big name in India. I'm not sure
Yes.
how many
Mhm.
people know about it in New Zealand, but I come from that country, so I know the TCS is
Yes.
a big name. But I'm talking about people who've just, they don't have a background in cybersecurity. They have just completed, say, their masters in cybersecurity. Now they're, looking into stepping into this industry. So for example, as an employer, what I feel, the challenge
Mhm.
for them that could be is that they don't have a local experience, right? So
Mhm.
they might say, you've just done your studies, you have the, the theoretical knowledge, but what about
Mhm.
the experience and, the working on the live project?
Yeah.
So that it could be one thing, but from your perspective, what do you think that is?
I think yes, experience does matter because local experience. I don't really agree to it as well, and I'm not really sure because experience in IIT can transcend borders.
Yeah.
It doesn't really need to be within the boundaries of the nation. But yes, having some sort of experience, having some sort of again, I think this goes back to what we were talking about. It's
Yes.
about the risk you take, right? So somebody would need to have enough confidence in you to take you in.
Exactly.
More than insecurity or more than your technical knowledge, more than your abilities. It's more about how confident you would be to take up the risk, and how confident as an employer I would be to entrust you with all of that responsibility. And I think there is, again, it's very gray. There is no quantifiable way to suggest how I can build trust.
Yes.
But one way of doing it is going through a lot of certifications or having a
Yeah, because the certifications does prove your credibility, that
yeah.
you've done OSCP, you've done CISSP, or whatever those certifications are. Of course, doing your masters from the Waikato University is a big thing, but I'm talking about people who are, not pursuing masters or bachelors.
Yes.
But yes, I agree that some sort of education does give you the credibility that,
Yes.
someone who's looking at employing you
Mm.
would see, he has this knowledge, or, even outside the certifications, he's playing hack the box, or, he has a profile
Mhm.
on hacker one. Oh my god, yeah, cybersecurity is not academics, uh,
Yes.
I look into the time when we did our studies, like passed
Mhm.
our exams and got the job.
Mhm.
Cybersecurity
Yes.
is so different.
No, it's
Yeah.
pretty different. It's something you step into once you have enough exposure.
Hmm.
It's not something you can just dive into. I think that's another thing is you need to, as a candidate, I would suggest that you need to keep your expectations also in check. Just because you have a master's, you won't be given the highest responsibility if you don't have the correct
I'm happy that
exposure.
I'm really happy that you brought it up, because a lot, when even I speak to people, they think, I've done my masters from this and that university. Now I should
Mhm.
be paid this much, and, I
Mm.
should get this. But it's great to hear from you, who's doing, masters from this university, and you feel that, oh no, doing this education is just the first step, and it
Yes.
shouldn't it shouldn't define your role or the package or anything like that. So that's great to hear.
Yes, because you would have, if you don't have relevant experience and if you don't have the industry experience, be it anywhere, it would be hard for any employer to put you at a stage where you can take up that much of responsibility.
Yeah, and
So
that's why
you,
I mentioned local
hmm,
experience, that,
yes,
if a company like an IT development company is hiring you as, a penetration tester, then
yeah,
that company would look at your experience. Okay, so
yeah,
what sort of roles have you completed in the past?
yeah,
Does is it relevant to what we are offering, and other things, of course, if
yes,
it's a good match with the company values, etc., etc. So yeah, that does play a big role.
yes.
But I think we're doing good. We are proactively. I think I'm
Hmm.
talking about New Zealand. Uh,
Hmm.
we are doing a lot better than what we were doing before, and I think it's
Uh-huh.
because of the pandemic. Of course, a lot of
Yes.
businesses moved to to digital solutions.
Mhm.
which brought cyber pandemic to New Zealand.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I totally agree to that.
So
Well,
yeah,
yes.
thank you. I mean, before you go, Akhil, is there anything that you would like to, tell our viewers,
Oh,
especially
well,
I think the students or the graduates from your university? And I think you're also participating in the New Zealand Cybersecurity Challenge. Is that right?
I am. I am. I haven't been getting a lot of time, but yes, I am doing that as well.
Right.
So, my suggestion would be to just keep an open mind. I would say that. And I think keep your expectations or uh, there are times when people have certain sorts of goal expectations or achievement expectations with themselves, and you can't always meet them, especially with times like these when there is a pandemic. Even businesses are struggling with running themselves, sustaining themselves, and on top of that, as you know, cyber has never been considered as a money making line of business. Major businesses don't even invest in it because it
Invest
doesn't
into
give a
it.
return.
No, they don't. I think it'll take some time, but as I said, we're doing good, and
Yes.
the aim of these talks that I am doing is to promote that awareness into the community, whether it's
Hmm.
the graduates, the people who are looking into stepping into this field, or even the industry professionals, because you worked for 5 years in the
Yes.
company, you're not a beginner or a newbie in this industry. So yeah, that's my aim, and I hope people take cybersecurity seriously, because it's
Yes.
yeah,
I I think it's a collective responsibility.
it is.
Uh, it's not only just the business's responsibility to promote it, but it's people like us who have some of experience, or if people like you who are running a business solely in cybersecurity,
Yeah,
uh, to promote it, and then people who have technical expertise.
exactly.
I think in this field, one thing that helps a lot is mentorship. If you have a mentor, they can help you guide through all of it and polish your skills. I have been a firm believer in mentorship, and I have worked under some amazing
And
mentors.
since you've said that, Akhil, if somebody who's listening to us and he has or she has questions, where
Mhm.
can that person reach out to you?
Well, they can reach out to me on my LinkedIn. Just search my name, Akhil Chandel, and you'd find me there. And if not, I can maybe give my email address as well. I would happy to take any questions if I
Awesome.
can help.
Thank you so much for your time with us today, Akhil. I
No,
think
thank you so much for having me here. It
Oh no,
was a
pleasure.
pleasure.
Pleasure is all mine, and I wish you all the best
Thank you
with
so
the New
much.
Zealand Cybersecurity Challenge and with your research. And if I can help you with anything, please feel free to ask. Thank you. Have a wonderful day ahead, Akhil. Thank you.